So this is going to be a short video about how I get my Joe Bonamassa type tone when I'm playing live using the Line 6HX Stomp. I don't have a Les Paul, so I'm using my Gibson SG, and I've got the bridge tone control wound down to about 5 or 6, maybe 5.5. Now we're going to start with the amp. Joe uses the Tweed Twins, which are very similar to the Tweed Bassman, which is what we have in the Helix. So we're going to use the Tweed Blues Bright. We've got the drive at 7.8, the bass at 1.2, the mid at 7.3, the treble at 6.3, and the bass at 5.4. The only other thing that I've touched is I've moved the sag up to 7.8 as well, because I just think it helps the feel of the amp. Now, when we move on to the cab, we've got two lead 80 cabinets, because there's two lead 80 type speakers in Joe's Twins. They're called JB85s, but they're basically lead 80s. And as you can see, I've got a 57 1 inch away and a 121 also 1 inch away. Now this replicates the mic setup for Joe's promo video of his signature Tweed Twins, so that gets us pretty close. Now this sound on its own, with no pedals, nothing else yet, just sounds like this. So getting in the ballpark. Now, one thing that's often overlooked is Joe is playing in big arenas like the Royal Albert Hall or Red Rocks or whatever, where there is some amount of natural reverb. I know he uses a reverb pedal with his Dumble Overdrive Special for the Eric Johnson type thing, but that's a different sort of setup, and I'm going to do another video on that at another point. But for this, we're going to use the dynamic hall to make it sound like a concert hall. We've got the decay at 1.8, the pre-delay at 80 milliseconds, the room size at 30 meters, the diffusion all the way up, the damping at 5 kilohertz, and the mix at 40%. The only other thing is this low cut here, which has been up to 220. Now if I add that in, so this is without, with, we're getting there. Okay, so the next thing to add, Joe doesn't use the tube screamer with his Tweed rig. He is even quoted in an interview as saying it didn't quite have the same thickness and punch as he wanted it to, so he doesn't use what he calls the little green box. He uses instead the overrated special, which I think is maybe more based off of a Stuper OD. I used to own a overrated special, and it was a bit thicker in the bottom end, and maybe a bit more aggressive with the gain. So we've got this set at the moment. We're going to start with the tone off, drive at 5, level at 5, and we get closer still. Now, you can turn the drive up a bit if you want. You don't want it all the way up, because then you get this. But as long as you keep it around, below halfway, you should get that nice smooth Bonamassa lead tone. So I mainly kick this in for a high gain solo. Then the other thing you can do is take a little bit of creative license here. We're going to use his delay settings that he uses with the Silver Jubilee, but just knock the mix back, because obviously we're just using one amp. So yeah, 330 milliseconds. You want about 4 repeats. Maybe do with a little more there. 12-bit and 16 kilohertz. And now this basically gets us most of the way there. And that's it. That's my fairly simple Joe Bonamassa template. So you've got room here for a fuzz, another drive pedal, a chorus if you want to make it really like his Tweed rig. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I'm going to do another one soon.